Okay, friends, today I brought in the big nerd guns. Beth Z, your nerdy best friend. Beth makes scary tech understandable, useful, and weirdly fun. She's brilliant, practical, hilarious, and a 0% jargon goblin. Voice cloning is creepy, powerful, and very much. Beth is exactly who I want in our ears for this.
Now, if you are watching this on YouTube right now, you did not see my mouth moving. In fact, I never said those words. That was a voice clone that Beth Z, your nerdy best friend, created specifically for this podcast. I figured July being Voice Month, we could also talk about a very real thing these days, which is voice cloning on AI. Beth Z, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me and the lovely things you said about me. What? Amazing.
Well, that's the scary thing about this, right? You can make me say anything you want me to say about you, and people will believe.
It's insane how good this has gotten in just the last few years. And I played around a lot with it because I heard you were doing the voice podcast month, and I thought that is something we need to revisit because your voice should be unique, and it no longer is unique because it's replicable and changeable and very scary.
Yeah, and it's funny, as you were sending me clips yesterday, I was listening to them going, well, I can kind of tell that it's not, but it's also in context of a conversation around AI and voice cloning. If I got that on the phone, I would totally believe it was you. So tell me a little bit about some of the research you've done. Well, first of all, back up, just so people who don't know you, you've been on the podcast before, but bringing you on for this, bring people up to speed on you and what you do for a living and why you're a great one to talk about this today.
First off, I want people to know I am not AI. This is really me. And sometimes people accuse me of being, so incredible I couldn't possibly be real, but it is the real thing. I am Beth Z. I am your nerdy best friend. And I say that because, the people who kind of sit in the corner and play with the dogs at parties and they're the ones you go to when your phone's not working. Well, that's me. I am your nerdy best friend. And I like to tell people about tech tools that'll make their lives easier and keep on top of the kind of tech tools that are changing the world.
That's awesome. And you've done a bunch of research on this voice cloning thing to play with it, but also to understand it and to help people understand it, which is why you're here today. So tell us a little bit about what you found out over the years and recently with voice cloning.
One of the things that we've gotten into is voice cloning has gone from very obviously fake to almost impossible to tell that it's fake. And that has happened in the last 3 or 4 years. When I first started playing around with this, I mean, you just sounded like a robot. You would put the words in there, you would have a voice clone, and it just does not sound right at all. But nowadays, it definitely can sound a lot like you, especially just as you mentioned, if you are just casually listening, if you are hearing an announcement, if someone calls on the phone, if you're just halfway listening, if you're listening to an ad, it is very easy to be duped by these things. Now, if this is your soulmate and you talk every day 16 hours and you're staring at him or her in the eyes and they're saying they love you, chances are that's going to be real and you'd be able to tell if it wasn't real. But when you're talking the casual conversations or the pieces and parts of information that we get every day, it's going to be harder and harder to figure out which is real and which is fake.
Yeah, and there's some fun ramifications of this because we can easily make commercials for ourselves and do some other fun things. But there's some so talk to me about the fun stuff before we get into the, sort of how we protect ourselves from this.
A lot of times when I'm reaching out to people or things, I will conscientiously do something fun, like take my voice, clone it, and put it into a song, right? And
Or a
I sing
cat.
a lot better as an AI person than I do as a real person. I will do that. I will do a little promo. But one of the things that I always do when I do that is make sure that people know I am not trying to fool anybody.
Mm.
This is AI on purpose. This isn't, hey, this is me, not me. I want you to know that it is not me. I want to keep my authentic self and I want to keep some humor in my AI self and not have to have anyone think ever that I am trying to deceive them.
Yeah. And I think as we're using it for fun, that's a really important piece to when we use it on social media, when we use it in advertising or whatever, that's an important piece to remember from a ethics standpoint.
Absolutely. Don't try to deceive people because they're not going to be deceived. And if they are deceived, you're going to go way down on their list as a person to be trusted.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's worth it for getting rid of, I have to send shout outs to different people. Go ahead and do the shout outs in real persontude or do something that's very obviously AI that would make people laugh because of it. And don't try to pull the wool over anybody's eyes.
Yeah, because then your credibility goes downhill. And trust these days, as Hannah Pryor talked about on a few episodes ago, trust is in short supply these days. So the more that we can help build people's trust in us as people, that's going to be all we have. So I love that. Can you play us one of the songs that you've done of yourself singing that you couldn't have done with your real vocal cords, but you could do for fun with AI?
All right.
It's a perfect day to play some golf down in West Virginia, or maybe get a little pampered down in the Mineral Springs. It's a perfect day to go enjoy the Greenbrier Hotel, but you're stuck in a conference room with me. You're watching me on Zoom while you sit in the conference room, when you could be out enjoying the beautiful day in West Virginia instead. You gotta listen to me talk about AI. Oh my, isn't this just the life?
So awesome. And it's funny because this is something that I do with my guitar in person with my audiences, which you may not have that talent. You have this talent, and you can make them feel like I just literally wrote an email about this. This is going out tomorrow, about the shared trauma and shared misery and how we're all friends after our flight is delayed. And it's exactly the same thing. We're at the Greenbrier, beautiful place, sitting in a conference room. I love that.
Sitting in a conference room, watching this lady's big head. And the way I wrote that was I had it clone a little bit of my voice. Now, I got to tell you, I don't sing like that person sings. And to me, the cloning is not very good. The only thing is, we're both female. Like, that's pretty much the only similarity I saw with the singing voice. But it let me clone my voice and then choose my voice to sing that song. And all I wrote was, um, uh, people having to be in a conference. They're very excited about the AI with Beth Z, but they'd really rather be outside. And that's all I wrote. And then it wrote the lyrics, it wrote the song, and it used my voice to make it. So that kind of thing I do all the time. Although I don't usually use my voice, that's a new thing that they just added very recently. But I do those things to kind of reach out to people, but I never claim that it's real.
Right. Yeah. No, and I love that part about it. And as you were playing with this yesterday, you were trying to trick some of the safeguards in some of these voice cloning, so that you could use like Beyonce or whatever. Talk to me a little bit about the safeguards that these easy to access tools have put into place so you can't just indiscriminately clone, and some of the other things you found to get around.
Okay, so let's first talk about cloning a celebrity's voice, all right, or a public figure. They've got a lot more restrictions on that. I bet there are ways to get around it, but and there are ways to get around everything. And not only can you get around it with legitimate tools, but there are going to be tools out there who don't care about it and just will let you do it. They're made to be horrible personality stealing pieces of software. But a lot of these will have, you can't sound like Taylor Swift, you can't do that. But here's something that scared me to death yesterday when I was doing this research for you. So, one of my favorite tools is called Descript. Now, if you're ever into any kind of video editing, you need this kind of tool. You put video into there and you tell it and you upload it, the main thing it does is it transcribes everything. And then to edit it, you just delete the words or move them around and you're deleting that and it's doing all the editing for you. But it also has a feature for cleaning up texts or cleaning up audio when, like, let's say you should have said, I'll see you in March, and you said, I'll see you in May, and you need to switch that word out. So I don't use it for that, but I was trying to see if I could change something you said in one of your videos, because this is a problem, is that I could make something maybe that actually sounded real. So I uploaded one of your videos to Descript, and I tried to get it to change a few of the words. And it said, you have not verified the voice yet. And I'm like, okay, well, Ann will probably let me verify her voice. But then I said, I wonder if I could create a verification that is false that Descript would take. So I used the first tool that I talked about that introed this conversation we're having, that intro
That's
tool.
11. What's it called?
That one was 11 Labs. That's one of the biggest in this voice cloning area. So I used 11 Labs. I took the text that Descript wanted me to say to verify the voice, right? I took that and I put it,
which basically means that voice verification basically means I am the one who is speaking this. I'm changing my own voice. Here's the verification and that's what Descript is trying to do. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
So you're trying to
read this out loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it can match it with the one that I'm trying to replace. Perfect. And so I took that statement because it said you can either upload the audio, or speak it. So I took those words and I put it into 11 Labs and I pressed a button and it generated that voice snippet and I put it back into Descript and it said voice verified. So without knowing Ann, without contacting Ann, without getting Ann's official okay, I was able to take one of her YouTube videos, get her voice off of it, verify her voice with another tool so it's authenticated, and then I went back into the original script of that YouTube video and I changed the words that came out of your mouth and I dubbed it. I made it so your lips matched the new words.
And I watched it and it wasn't perfect, but it worked. It was good enough. Which
it was good
crazy.
enough. And that's the scary thing. Like, how many YouTube videos, how many clips do we watch every day, right? I was just watching Facebook Reels a few minutes ago with, believe it or not, some kittens. I can't believe that I had that in my video. So I was watching a few, and you're just watching them, like mindlessly watching them. You don't know what's real and what's not. And you can just make up stuff. And that's one thing we have to be aware of. You can use it for fun and to entertain and to do something fun with the holidays with your family, or you can do it to, I don't know, plan world destruction. Different things, different applications. 6-7.
So how do we protect ourselves? I mean, this is the biggest part, right? It's not a matter of not putting our voice online because it's all out there. We're putting videos on social media. I'm a speaker, so I want everybody to hear my voice. It's out there. You got 7 bajillion samples. Okay, maybe not everybody has as many samples as I do, but if you've ever posted a TikTok video or a video from, the holidays or whatever, it's out there. So what can we do to protect ourselves?
The main thing is education. That's about all we can do. There's something called the grandparent scam, and this is what I have been most concerned about because my father fell for the grandparent scam. And if you haven't heard of it, here's the gist. Scammers call a landline, right? Most of the time they get a phone number that's a landline, and that's where the grandparent things come in because a lot of older people may have landlines left over. That's what they're counting on. So they call a landline. And the person, my dad answered the phone one day and he heard a tiny voice. Grandpa, I messed up. I'm in jail. I hit somebody. I was drunk. Please don't tell mom. Oh, God, a lawyer will be contacting you. He needs $2,000. Just give him that. I'll straighten everything out. I'm so scared. Please help me. My dad, who has a PhD in zoology, believed him. And he went to the bank and tried to send $2,000 to wire $2,000 to this person. And the bank stopped him. Now, the funny thing is, my dad was really mad at the teller. She said, "We think this is a scam. We're not going to do it. Call your grandson." So those are the older scams.
Mhm.
But now people are ramping up those scams to include voice cloning and video cloning, right? Because you can do
Right.
that too.
Yep.
In fact, I wanted to show an experiment that I did. A lot of your listeners probably have had the training from people to watch out for an email that says, "Hi, this is the comptroller from your organization. I am on a plane right now and completely unreachable, but a very above board vendor will be contacting you to ask for $70 billion in Apple gift cards in the next hour. Please, that is fully authorized. I totally agree with that, and I am unreachable again, but just go ahead and give them money," right? We've seen those kind of trainings, like this is a scam. They can get into an organization, find the right people, and they can be really convincing. But now they're adding that voice cloning. So let me show you an experiment, and I guess what I'll have to do is go ahead and share my screen again. From that, a videographer. He's also a musician and a voiceover artist. And I asked Matt to pretend to be me calling my manager and asking her to give out my credit card number. So this is Matt.
This is actually Matt's voice actually recording this, not an AI version of Matt. Matt spoke this into a recording.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Hey Haley, it's Beth. Sorry, I'm just at the airport and the Wi-Fi is horrible. My phone's about to die. Anyway, there's a problem. I was trying to, I guess I messed up a credit card number in trying to order this thing. And anyway, someone's going to call and just to get the right one. So if you can have that ready, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.
So that is Matt.
Sounds like your inflections too.
So I took that, and you can use 10 seconds of someone's audio to clone a voice. And it takes like 14 seconds to render. Like it's no time at all to do this. So this whole thing from the time I begged Matt to do it to the time I had this next video took about 3 minutes, the whole thing.
Hey Haley, it's Beth. Sorry, I'm just at the airport and the Wi-Fi is horrible. My phone's about to die. Anyway, there's a problem. I was trying to, I guess I messed up a credit card number in trying to order this thing. And anyway, someone's going to call and just to get the right one. So if you can have that ready, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Wow. So basically you plugged Matt in, you plugged a few examples of you in, and it turned Matt into you.
Yeah, I didn't even have to plug Matt in. I just had to have his little audio. But it took me no time at all. And actually, when I was doing all this for you, I redid it with new audio because I knew it had gotten better because that was 2 years ago. And the new audio is even better than that one. That one is a little high, but this next one sounds very much like me, more like me than the other one did. And it freaks people out when I show people this in a session. And here's the advice I give: make a safe word. Contact your family members and contact your work and say, "Listen, this kind of technology is out there. Let's agree on a safe word so that if we're getting questioned, if this kind of thing comes through, you can ask, do you know the safe word or a special question?" And if they don't know it, you got yourself a scammer. And I think that that's something we have to do immediately because it's so easy to do. And like when I was doing your fakery with the Descript and 11 Labs, I could have just played that in 11 Labs so it seemed like it was live conversation, right? Because it's instantly rendered, right? Because they let me upload one. So I did download it and then upload it, but I could have just had it sitting here and played it, and then it would have verified your voice. So we have to just know that these things are out there and talk to our friends and family and our coworkers and say, hey, let's have a plan B to verify information.
Yeah. Yeah. And making sure that if there isn't yet a safe word in place, it seems to like be skeptical. Say, you know what? Let me call you right back. Or who can I call? Or what else? Like, how can I not immediately trust this? Which is hard. Again, when you think your grandchild is on the phone from jail, but like, hey, how can we call your mom too? Okay. And, yeah, or something that can double verify for you, and not trusting all the videos that are online. This is, as all this rhetoric and political hullabaloo is going on both sides, it's really important for us to know that this is going on and know that the things that we see people saying might not actually be what they're saying, which is scary.
And our guard is being let down a lot more because a lot of politicians, a lot of people who do marketing are actively using AI regularly. And they're not pretending it's real or anything like that, but our guard goes down, right? Like we see a candidate in the middle of a field, shaking hands or something like that. And is that one real? Is that one not real? I've seen a bunch of them. And just our guard is going down when our guard really needs to be going up. This is not a doom and gloom conversation. It's just awareness, because most people this is not going to happen to, but the grandparent scam, those kind of things happen all the time. And those are the people I'm most worried about, are the people who aren't being bombarded every day with, hey, here are some practical things you can do to stay safe. Here's some ways to protect your password and things. A lot of us who are in the workforce still get that bombardment of scams are out there. But if you've got someone who's not actively in those circles anymore, they're the ones who really you need to watch out for them. You need to help educate them, and you need to give them some safety words and things so they don't fall into one of these scams.
Yeah, and I was just home back where my parents live a few weeks ago, and we had this conversation, and we picked a very funny inside joke with our family, and we're like, just say that, so nobody has to remember some, purple armadillo or some kind of secret password that's like, well, what color was the armadillo? We picked this inside joke with our family that people generally don't know, and scammers definitely wouldn't know. And we went with that. And we're like, either if you don't hear it, ask for it. And if they don't say it, it ain't me, And that was a really important thing from my parents, who are 82, down to my nephew, who's 14, and us all in between, because it could happen to all of us.
It could. And it's just awareness, knowing that every time we think we get smarter, the scammers get smarter too. And they're dumb scammers, but now they've got the technology to be smart, dumb scammers.
Right. And when you're a trusting human being, it doesn't take rocket science to trick. I mean, I think about this with myself every once in a while. I'm like, I could probably be tricked pretty easily. If you're a scammer and listening to this, don't do it. But
don't call Ann.
Don't call Ann.
Her name's Fred.
I've got my nerdy best friend on my side. I'll check with her. Now, are there ways to check a video or an audio that we, if we receive it, is there a way to check, like, hey, is this AI? There's a way to do that, isn't there? Kind of? No.
Not consistently and not well. Just today, I was playing around with some stereotypes with AI, right? Because if you go into AI, it's built on all the words that have ever been spoken and all the things that have ever been written. And so there's a lot of inherent AI bias, right? So I was putting in a picture of, I was like, tell me a picture of a doctor. And believe it or not, it was a white guy, right? Give me a picture of a nurse. Believe it or not, it was a woman, right? So those were the stereotypes I was checking. And then I said, I went to, I took one of the pictures from one of the tools and put it into another tool. And I said, is this an AI picture? And it said, yes, there is a marker that ChatGPT and Google are putting into their AI pictures to show that they're AI pictures. I'm like, great. So I took a screenshot of that picture And I put the same one back in the same one. I said, is this AI? And they said, I can't tell you. I don't know. So,
Because the marker's in the file, not on the image. And when you
right,
screenshot it, doesn't take that over with it.
right. So I've seen that. You can see watermarks sometimes with them, but they're watermarks you can take off. So all of the things we think should be easy are not easy. In fact, Anne, I don't know if you remember this, but way back in the day, you sent me a very funny video of a flatulent cat in a bathtub.
That's something I would do.
Yes, it was a flatulent cat in a bathtub. And this was when
Oh.
ChatGPT's Sora, OpenAI's Sora was really big. And I said, I think that's AI. You were like, I hope not. And I think it is. So I went and checked that. And sure enough, there was AI imprinting in it. And then I was able to take a picture of one of my cats and replicate the flatulent cat in the bathtub. And it broke both of our hearts because if the original video had been real, that's a life-changing cat flatulence moment.
It's a moment.
And we'll never get that back. The bubble is popped, so
Yep.
to speak.
The
It was
dream
in
is
the
dead.
bathtub, so there were bubbles, but not that bubble. But I was able to replicate that and create another one with my cat as the subject. And that's one of the problems, though, is that I can go a dozen places and take off the watermark. I can figure out a couple of dozen ways to change the metadata and the file name so that it doesn't look like it's AI. You know, and then I was talking to Gemini, the ChatGPT Google equivalent today, and I was like, hey, I said, because I asked it, why did you identify that one as AI and this one as undetermined? And it said, because you took out that stuff. And I said, well, is there anything that would give it away? It said, well, look at the hands. They're slightly malformed and the words are slightly malformed. And I said, but that gets better every day. And it said, oh, yeah, that's true. So you can't rely on that anymore. So
Yeah.
it's going to be tough, but the best advice is just be aware of the kind of things and just really verify, especially if somebody asks you for money or access or any kind of entrance into your life.
Yeah.
Just put up red flags until you can verify that that's something you want to do.
I love it. I love it. And that awareness is important. And you can sit here and listen to this and be all worried and negative and this is terrible. But the cat's out of the bag. Like we can't put the bubbles back in the cat in the bathtub. Like we can't put the worm can is open, you know, like the worms are out. And so the best thing we can do rather than just saying this is awful, this is terrible, is say, all right, what can I do to protect myself? How can I look skeptically at all this stuff? And the thing that I love is that hopefully this will make human interaction even more important and even more of a skill that is valued and hopefully a skill that's done more often. Because I'm going to need to say, hey, Beth, I just got a call for somebody asking me to, you know, pay a thing for you so that you can get on a plane. Is that you? You're like, so we actually have these conversations. Or, honey, I just saw a video of you with some, you know, prostitute getting out of a car in downtown Manhattan. I know you're on the road. Is that really you? Like, and having these conversations and being able to be emotionally intelligent about this whole thing because we're going to get tested.
I was coming up with a really good prostitute comeback for that, but I think I'm just going to leave it right there. It was
Can't
really
put the
funny,
bubbles
but
back in the cat.
incredibly inappropriate. We already talked flatulence.
Thank you for outing me on that, by the way. Well, Beth Z, your nerdy best friend, constantly keeping up. She's my go-to for AI questions. And you can find her at yournerdybestfriend.com. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. And I'll put all that in the show notes so you can go see. I follow her newsletter so that I can get all the latest in AI. She's constantly playing with it, seeing exactly what's newest and what's most relevant for us to know. So Beth Z, thank you so much for your insights and your time and being just a friggin' delight.
And thank you for lending your voice to this discussion about voices, because I think you're making the case, and all the people this month are making the case, that your authentic voice is one of the most valuable things about you. And the voice cloning thing just adds to that. Don't let anybody take your voice, and don't fall for anybody else's unauthentic voice, because the real authenticity there is what we all need to strive for and look for.
I agree completely. Mic drop. Betsy, thank you so much for your time and for coming on the show.
Bye.